I thought superheroes had capes, until I met Saint Joseph. He didn't fly or use lightning bolts, but he had a strength that came from the heavens. Did you know that the patron saint of all the world's workers isn't a boss in a suit, nor a robot that works non-stop, but a silent, humble, and loving father? Saint Joseph the Worker is the true defender of decent work. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why his life changed the world without saying a single word. He wasn't famous for his speeches. He was great for his example. Without titles or microphones, Saint Joseph transformed history from his workshop. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why his life changed the world without saying a single word. He wasn't famous for his speeches. He was great for his example. Without titles or microphones, Saint Joseph transformed history from his workshop. A man of hard-working hands and a faithful heart, Saint Joseph didn't have a fancy office. His workshop was tiny, filled with wood, nails, hammers, and a lot of patience. He was a carpenter, and every day he worked with his hands to take care of his family. Imagine Joseph sanding the wood, cutting carefully, building tables, chairs, doors, but while he did so, his heart was praying. Every blow of the hammer was like a prayer to heaven. Every board he fitted was an act of love for Jesus and Mary. And as he worked, he taught the child Jesus to love simplicity, to be consistent, and to do things well, even when no one was watching. Because for him, working wasn't an obligation. It was a way of loving. He didn't rush to be first. He walked firmly to be faithful. And in that workshop, where everything seemed so ordinary, something extraordinary happened. God learned to live like a man, watching his father live like a saint. Work can also be sacred. Sometimes we think that only praying in church is holy, but Saint Joseph teaches us that work is also a way of loving God. He didn't speak much, but his actions spoke volumes. His work was prayer. His effort was love. He offered everything to God, his sweat, his exhaustion, the good days, and the difficult ones. That's what makes work sacred, when it's done with love. Saint Joseph reminds us that even the smallest task can be great if offered with faith. And that makes him the first saint to teach us how to encounter God while we use a hammer or a broom, while we take care of children or clean dishes. He transforms the mundane into the eternal. Because when we work with love, God enters into what we do and transforms it from within. Working with his heart, not just his hands, Saint Joseph didn't work just to earn money. He worked to care, to protect, to serve. When Jesus saw him working, he learned how to love with actions. Imagine that, the Son of God learning from his Father on earth how to use tools, how to be patient, how not to give up. Jesus saw in him a model, a light, a reflection of the love of the Father in heaven. And every time Saint Joseph endeavored to do something, he did it with a smile of peace, because he knew he was fulfilling a very special mission, to care for the Savior of the world. He didn't seek rewards. He sought to love, and that's why his work was worth more than gold. He didn't mind being invisible because he knew God saw him. And in that profound silence, his life was filled with a light that to this day continues to illuminate all those who work with their souls. Saint Joseph the Worker, a very special feast. May 1st isn't just Labor Day. In the Catholic Church, we celebrate Saint Joseph the Worker. And do you know why? Because the Church wanted all workers around the world to have a true example, a model of faith, effort, and love. It was Pope Pius XII who in 1955 said, "Let us dedicate this day to Saint Joseph the Worker, so that the world remembers that work is not a burden, but a gift from God when it is lived with dignity." On that day, we celebrate all those who work with their soul: carpenters, teachers, gardeners, mothers, doctors, grandparents, everyone. Because all of them, in what they do with love, reflect Saint Joseph. It is a feast that celebrates not fame, but fidelity, that does not reward noise, but perseverance, that does not seek applause, but hearts that serve in silence. Before continuing, stop for a moment and think, what touched your heart the most in this video? Write in the comments what you learned and add, Saint Joseph, teach me to work with love and faith. If this video is helping you, I invite you to subscribe to continue receiving stories that nourish the soul. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, please share it with love. What follows will transform you even more. Let us continue this journey of faith together. Saint Joseph's message for today's workers. Saint Joseph tells us, do not be discouraged. Even if your work seems small, if you do it with love, it is great. He reminds us that the world needs hands that build, hearts that serve, and people who live with faith every day. It's not about earning a lot of money, but about giving your best, even if no one applauds. Saint Joseph wasn't seeking fame. He was seeking to be faithful. And today, from heaven, he accompanies all those who work with effort, patience, and hope. He is the invisible companion of every worker who does their work with honesty and heart. And when someone cries because they can't go on, he is there, silently, giving them strength. When a mother wakes up tired, when a worker finishes his day without anyone thanking him, when a grandmother cares for her grandchild with love, Saint Joseph is present because he knows that tiredness. And he also knows that in that tiredness, God is present. And you, do you work like Saint Joseph? Today you can look at your hands and say, I want to work like him. You can offer your work, your service, your effort as a living prayer. And if you are ever tired or feel like no one values what you do, remember this: God sees everything, and Saint Joseph is with you. Work with love, like him, and your life will be a blessing to all. Because when work is done with love, it becomes a direct path to heaven. And every little thing you do, if you do it out of love, will be written in God's heart forever. And now that you've discovered how great Saint Joseph is as a worker and protector of daily struggles, you can't miss the other part of his story, because this same silent man was also the bravest dad who ever lived. Do you want to meet Jesus' super dad? Then get ready, because what you're about to see will fill your heart like never before.